Let's begin creating this hero section using HTML and CSS. Let's start off by creating a section with a class of hero5 and container. Within this section, I want to have 3 different containers. The first container is going to have the hero image, so I'm going to create a div with a class of .hero5 __ image. I also want to add the background image to the container because I'll be using this in WordPress later on. So I'm going to add the background element URL, and inside that URL I'm going to add the image. For the image, I want to make it center top and cover, no repeat. I also want 2 other containers, so I'm going to create one for the solid background, so div.hero5 __ solid, and I also want one for the content, so I'm going to do div.hero5 __ content. If you take a look at our preview, we're not seeing anything as yet. Now let's go ahead and set up the CSS for this. First, let's go ahead and set up the container. So the hero5 container is going to be a display of grid because we're using grids to sort this out. We're going to give it a height of 100 VH, a grid template columns of repeat 12, 1 FR, and a grid template rows also of repeat 12, 1 FR. Also, I'm going to give it a padding of 0 so we don't have any extra space inside the container. Alright, so now that we have that set, let's take a look at our preview, and there's our little image here. So because we're using grid, we now need to position each container within the grid to the specific places that we want them to go. So let's do that now. If you want to see the grid outline so you know exactly what you're doing, you can right click, go to inspect, go under layout, and go down to where you see your grid. You can check it like that, and now you can see all the numbers that is associated with all your columns and all your rows, so you know where you want to position your things. For instance, this image here, I want to position it like this. So now I know row 1, column 1, all the way to column 7 and row 13. So I'm going to close this out, go back into my CSS, grab the class for the image, which is .hero5 __ image, and in here I want to give it a grid area of 1, so it goes starting row, starting column, ending row, ending column. Once I hit save and we jump over to our preview, you'll see that my image is now positioned perfectly. Let's go ahead and do that for the other 2 sections. So for the solid section, it's .hero5 __ solid. And in here, I want to give it a grid area, of 1, 7, 13, and 13. I think I got that correct. Let's give it a background color as well of, yes, let's choose, yeah, that one. Let's preview what we have, and here's our solid section. Now it's time to add the content parts. Inside our content container, I want to go ahead and add the things that we need to make up the content section. So I know that we need a H2 at the top, then we need a H1, then we need another H2, and then we need a button, which is an anchor tag. Inside, I'm just going to copy and paste from the content I have. So inside the H2, it's going to be the name of the person. Then the H1 is going to have the message, and then the H2 below this is the subheading. And then for the button, we have book a consultation. Now let's go ahead and position our content area so we can see what we're working with. So I'm going to call it by its class name, hero5 __ content. I'm going to give it a grid area of 4, 6, 11, and 11. A background color of white, a color of gray. We're going to make it a display of flex. We also want the flex direction to be column so that they stack on top of each other. Give that a justified content of center, a gap of 1 rem, a padding of 3 rem, and an align items of center. Now if I go to my preview section, you will see that we have our content area set up and the content is positioned correctly. Now we need to style the content within this container. Let's style the name first. I'm going to give it a class of hero5 underscore underscore name. Then in my CSS, I can call it by the class name. And I'm going to give it a font size of variable size 5XL, a font family of, I believe this was dancing script that I had, and cursive, a font weight of 100, and a color, I'm going to choose gray, and then I'm just going to adjust it to like a darker gray. Now when you look at our preview, you'll see that the name has been styled. Now let's do the rest. For the H1, I can just go to Hero5 content and just call the tag like that. And I want to give it a font size of variable size 6XL, a font weight of 800, a text align of center, and a line height of 4.3 rem. For the subsection, I want to give this a class of hero5 underscore underscore sub. Then I can call the class name of hero5 underscore underscore sub, and I want to give it a font size of variable, let's make this large, a font weight of 400, a line height of 1.8 rem, and the text align of center. And then finally, for our button, I want to give this a class of hero, I spelled that wrong, of hero5 underscore underscore btn, and then access the class by its name. Then I want to take away the underline, so let's set text decoration to none. Let's give it a color of white, a background color of orange, and I want it to be orange. I don't remember what the code is, so I'm just going to select something around here. A font weight of 800, a padding of 1.3 rem and 2 rem, that should be good. A border radius of 45 pixels and a margin top of 1 rem. Now that we've added the style for the content section, if I go ahead and preview this, you'll now start to see that our section is looking good. For the H1 here, the weight is a little bit too low, so I'm just going to go back into my H1 class. See, we left off a 0 for the 800. So once I save that and then I go back, you'll see that we now have our hero section set up. And that was pretty easy, quick, and fast. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped you. In my next video, I'll be doing the same thing in Elementor in WordPress using grids, and then we'll take a look at Flexbox.